Hello and welcome to Fraggle Talk Classic, the unofficial Fraggle Rock podcast brought to you by toughpigs.com. My name is Beth and I am rewatching for the millionth time.
My name is Julia and I'm rewatching for the first time in 10 years.
My name is Adam, and y'all know I care about Fraggle Rock because it is 10 a.m. on a weekend, and I'm here instead of playing Silksong.
And today we are talking about episode 8 of season 3, Believe It or Not, which...
But wait,
What?
What's this?
What?
A portal opening on the side of the wall, and stepping through it is...
Believe it or not, it is Katie Lynn, and I'll stop before you get DMCA'd.
Was that the real American hero? Oh my god.
That's me!
Yay!
I honestly, that is probably my favorite theme song of any American TV show ever, so deep cut
I
right by my
associate
heart.
it with Seinfeld because there's an episode where George Costanza uses it as a answering machine message.
I always associate it with Homestar Runner because there's that bit where Homestar dresses up as him and he goes, "Believe it or not, I'm walking around. I never thought I could twig or tweet."
It's just so useful in any
Does
situation.
a lot.
Oh.
Anyways, would you like to tell us who you are? And I mean that they know who you are if they've been listening. So honestly, actually, you know what? This is on you, listeners. Pay attention.
Well, for everyone's benefit, it is Katie Lynn from toughpigs.com.
Yay! Oh, I'm so glad you're here for this one. Yes, this episode originally aired on February 18th, 1985, written by Jocelyn Stevenson, directed by Terry Maskell. And yeah, you want to tell us a bit about why you wanted to pick this episode in particular?
Well, I wrote the Tough Pigs 40 years later review, and I did that in part because of Jocelyn Stevenson having written this episode, and because I read this book in third grade called Oh Diddy by Jocelyn Stevenson.
Oh.
And it is about an imaginary friend who is forgotten by their human, and they're so desperate to be remembered that they go to all sorts of hijinks to be remembered by their human. And so like just that association was enough for me to be like, yes, I just need to, there's clearly a connection here. And I didn't necessarily find a connection, but like it is nice and serendipitous.
I love that.
It's a very good episode.
Yeah. Oh boy.
There's a lot.
Yeah.
Let's dive into it.
Sploosh. That's perfect because there's a lot of water in the episode.
So we find out pretty quickly that both Ms. Ardath and Sprocket are afraid of spiders.
Same.
Very much so.
I'm also afraid of spiders, so I related to Sprocket pretty heavily in these segments.
I as anybody else, I'm also just like incredibly afraid of spiders.
Oh no, I'm very chill with spiders. Whenever I see one in my apartment, I'm like, hey, good to see you there, buddy. I love the job that you're doing, keeping the worst bugs under control, but just a heads up that my little familiar does not know the difference between bugs we kill and eat and bugs we leave alone. So just beware of the cat.
But does your cat approach the spider with a shoe? That's what I
The cat
think
uses
pets
a rolled
do.
up newspaper, actually.
Okay. No, I'm not afraid of spiders. I am definitely the doc in this situation where I come and I take it outside if others are. I had an interview delayed because someone was like super afraid of spiders and they had to assure her that it had been taken out of the room before anyone could go back in.
Wow.
Yeah.
I did want to add as a personal note, I have done a lot of work to try to be less afraid and more okay with spiders. And I am at the point where... Well, okay, also, this never applied to daddy long legs, first of all. Daddy long legs are awesome. I love them. They're chill as hell. They're phenomenal. Weirdly enough, the only one that I was also never afraid of is black widows.
What?
Huh.
Is that because they're not near where you are?
No, they're in my area, but they're just like...
What?
They're pretty, and they don't want to mess with you.
They're also...
Most of them don't.
Yeah, those ones...
Well, it's like a rattlesnake, right? Rattlesnakes don't want to bite you. Rattlesnakes will avoid you if possible and give you a chance to back off. Black widows are the same way. And they're just like... Because the thing that really gets to me about spiders is just the alien body language of it all. And black widows are like dainty and careful, and I can kind of relate to that a little bit.
Yeah, one time in college in my garage, I found a black widow that very clearly was going to be laying eggs because she was huge, and I murdered her so badly. Like, it doesn't help currently where my husband and I live. For whatever reason during summer, we get the biggest spiders in our basement, and they're so fast, and they come out of nowhere, and then we both just scream until one of us takes care of it. Like, a little spider in the house, I'm like, I don't love you, but, like, either I'll leave you alone, I'll take you outside. But we get huge spiders in our house, and so I hate them so much.
Well, so that is my exception. My rule with spiders is if I am 100% confident that I can kill this thing in one blow, we're cool. I'll put you in a cup, I'll take you outside. If there is even a 0.5% chance that first strike will only anger it, I'm good. I'll pass. I'm done.
So you two
You can have the
never
house.
going to Australia then?
No.
Nope.
No. Yeah, I spent a year in New Zealand when I graduated college, and people were like, "Oh, are you going to go to Australia when you're down there?" And I was like, "No, Australia is the polar opposite of New Zealand. New Zealand has no animals, maybe like one or two, but like basically nothing that can kill you. And Australia has a million things. So a part of me would love to go to Australia someday, but I know all of the bugs, all of the animals that live in the ocean, all the animals that live on land that can harm you. Kangaroos there can harm you. I'm good."
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
I had one more thing I wanted to on this. I wanted to read. It's a very short little poem, and it's one of the things that really made me stop and work as hard as I could to try to reevaluate my fear on spiders.
I think I know the poem.
And it ties... well, it's one of two, but yeah, you probably know them both. I was only going to read this one. And it ties really well into this episode. And so, y'all mind if I read a short poem real quick?
Go. Do it.
Love poems.
All right, this is called Allowables. Wait, really? Oh my God, Julia, you like poems?
No, don't read a poem, Adam. I hate them. They're the worst.
This is called Allowables by Nikki Giovanni. I killed a spider. Not a murderous brown recluse. Nor even a black widow. And if the truth were told, this was only a small spider, sort of papery, who should have run when I picked up the book. But she didn't. And she scared me. And I smashed her. I don't think I'm allowed to kill something just because I am frightened.
That's very good. I like Nikki Giovanni a lot, and I don't know if I've heard that poem before.
It's the only one of hers I've ever read, so...
Oh, she's great. 10 out of 10.
Yeah, I mean, if that one is by any measure to... that one good, so other poem by her good.
Makes perfect sense.
And it definitely resonates with this episode, too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, basically, Doc decides that he's going to try what is essentially called exposure therapy, which, Doc, I appreciate your good intentions, but do not do this to someone unless you are a therapist specifically trained in exposure therapy.
Mm-hmm. It's actually a very delicate process.
You know, and I'll just say, like, in this opening segment, Doc says to Sprocket, every living thing has a right to live, and I was like, oh dang, this is gonna be a heavy episode. If that's the note we're starting out on with Doc and Sprocket, it's, you know, we're gonna see where the rest of this episode goes.
Yeah.
Yeah, get the Buddhist principles out there pretty early and keep rocking them throughout.
They say it directly. They don't just leave it implied. They're like, no, every living thing has a right to live.
Mm-hmm. Which sounds easy and uncomplicated until I start thinking about carrots.
I mean, the flip side of that is all of life survives by eating other dead life.
Yeah. Ugh. That's the hard part.
And and the carrots continue to live because of us. Like, we continue to plant them. They continue to grow. Like, it's all a symbiosis.
Yeah. The best way I have found to approach that is with respect. Like, yes, okay, we need the fish in this river to live. The fish also need the river to live, and the river needs the fish to be healthy, so we are going to make sure that we are careful with how many fish we eat.
Yeah.
and we're not going to in the river.
Right.
Life lessons.
And we're going to respect that the bears also need that fish.
Mm-hmm.
It's Fat Bear Week.
Fat Bear Week!
Ah,
The
heck
best
yeah.
week.
Fat Bear Week. Fat Bear for finals.
Well, Julia, first I want to know if you know any dogs who chew on shoes.
Yeah, I definitely do. I feel like it's not as common with most dogs. Like, most of them aren't trying to steal my shoes, but I definitely have watched a handful of dogs who... There's one dog I watched, his name is Kevin, and I love him. He's one of the cutest dogs ever, but he's a little scoundrel. And I was staying at his place, and I realized like 10 minutes had gone by, and I was like, I don't know where he is. What's he doing? And I found him in the kitchen with one of my shoes, and I don't think he'd been chewing on it for long, but I was like, no, please give it back. Yeah, you know, it's a stereotype for dogs for a reason. Some dogs just love to chew, and I feel like shoes are just very accessible because they're on the ground, and they smell. They probably, to dogs, taste great. So, yeah, dogs be chewing on shoes. Dogs be chewing.
That they do. So we cut over to Red and Wembley, and it occurred to me as I was watching this isn't a dynamic we get to see very often.
Yeah, this is the first time we've seen Wembley and Red as a duo.
Oh, I thought we'd gotten them before in like at least one other episode.
Nope, I went back and checked.
Oh, maybe I'm thinking of Back to the Rock.
Exactly.
In fact,
they
I am
do
thinking
have
of an episode from Back to the Rock.
Yeah.
Wow, spoilers.
Spoilers, there's
God.
gonna
Oh, I'm about to drop a big one, but I'm going to be very careful of it. So that
I think I know which one you're talking about, yeah.
Red and Wembley.
Red and Wembley.
Red and Wembley in the morning. Anyway, sorry.
They say it's a perfect day for an adventure, and they have this great exchange where she asks him, can't you feel it in your little green bones? And then he goes, what do my bones know? Which is both delightful and also, are Fraggle bones green? What does that mean?
Wembley's, I think, must be.
How do they
do
know?
they match their fur color?
Yeah, that's my question.
Oh.
What Fraggle morgue professional has performed enough Fraggle autopsies to know what color Fraggle bones are?
What are their funerary rites? Let's
Right?
Yeah.
We don't
dig
know.
into that.
I suppose we never see them handle Fraggle death, do we?
We see them handle the concept of Fraggle death, and they have...
Yeah, because there's Moki's funeral.
And also, like, Marooned, they talk about, like, the concept of
Yeah.
dying. And then, obviously, they talk about Fraggles from history who presumably are no longer alive. So,
Right.
But they've never had a Fraggle die and had to deal with that.
that's true. Or, like, never come across a dead body.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't think we're gonna get that.
But so I really like their little back and forth dynamic. You get a lot of really interesting sort of push and pull. Like Red is clearly trying to be supportive and about half the time is being supportive. And the other half is just sort of like strong-arming Wembley to go outside when he kind of doesn't want to.
Yeah.
And then we see the Gorgs, and we see that they are specifically waiting for the Gorgs to pass so that they can keep going. And the basement is dirty. There's this episode does a lot of really interesting transitions, and Wembley's talking about how he's scared, and Red is like, it's all in your head. And then we cut to Ma and Pa Gord, and Pa is gaslighting Ma by saying, oh, it's all in your head.
Mm-hmm.
Although he does call her Dream Cake, which I think is kind of cute.
Yeah. We get a lot of good nicknames in this episode, but Dream Cake is probably the best one.
Some serious gorgisms going on.
Mm-hmm. And I wrote this exchange down because I love it so much. It's such a perfect illustration of how unhealthy their dynamic is.
Mm-hmm.
Pa's trying, his argument is basically like, oh, you only, like, the basement isn't dirty, you just think it is, so you're only trying to get me to clean the basement because you think it's dirty. And he says, oh, it's all in your head. And Ma says, no, it's all in the basement. And Pa says, well, let's not argue. You only think I need to clean the basement. And Ma says, oh, we're not arguing. I'm telling you, go clean the basement.
Yeah, he's trying to do a lot of manipulation tactics, and it's just so clear they've been married for a long time where she's like, doesn't work. Go clean the basement.
He's also just, like, not good at it.
Yeah.
No.
Like, I feel like that's, like, intro, like, freshman level gaslighting of, oh, that's not true. You just think that's true.
Yeah. And, like, I get that with the concept of the basement needs to be clean. Like, that's a subjective thing that you can disagree on. Some stuff is not up for debate.
Mm-hmm. And Junior's very excited about this pet and just gets completely dismissed by everyone.
Oh, that's right. I forgot that he captured this little fuzzly guy tries to keep it as a pet.
Mm-hmm.
And then Mom is like, no pets.
And then we meet the little squiggly, fuzzily Blumfus.
Oh, Skinfrith. So this is spelled Skenfrith. Apparently nothing to do with Michael K. Frith.
Oh, weird.
This is the name of
What
a
about Michael K. Skin?
town in Wales?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Is it pronounced that way, or is it pronounced?
Ooh,
It's completely different.
Oh, I have spent this entire time trying to look up the proper pronunciation of this word, and Skinfrith is the anglicized version. The Welsh version is, oh God, let me see if I can find this again.
Jeffrey.
Ynysgynwraid. Innisgunred.
No,
Inraith?
that's too many consonants.
It's too many consonants.
That's Welsh for you.
Yep.
Doesn't W count sort of as a vowel in Welsh, though?
Probably.
Search me.
I don't know.
And yeah, the Mari Lloyd tradition. That
Yeah.
U sound is a W.
I apologize to all our Welsh listeners. Please tell us
In
how to
fact,
pronounce
actually,
this
Welsh
word.
listeners, if we're pronouncing this wrong, we want to know how to pronounce it right. If you
Oh, yeah.
can walk us through how to say this thing, we would be very
I
grateful.
even tried looking it up on an interactive map of Welsh place names and how to pronounce them, and I can't find it on there.
Mm.
But yeah, pretty quickly we get introduced to this little guy, played by Dave Goles, and very quickly we get this wonderful little song called Now You See Me, Now You Don't.
I like this song. It's got some nice little rock and roll roots, and it doesn't overstay its welcome.
No, but it is the only song in the episode.
It is the only song in the episode. It definitely got stuck in my head, and I think it's worth noting the lyrics. So basically, Skinfrith has said, like, I am whatever you believe I am. And he demonstrates this, that like, oh, if you believe I have pigtails, then I'm going to have pigtails. And the chorus goes, you only see what you seem to believe to be me, making believe that the dream in your head could be me, but it's only you that you see.
I also wrote them down because they're so good.
Yeah. Like that is some next level breaking down of the projection that is happening in this episode. Like, unless the creature that we now see in Junior's cage that's popping around, the kind of base Skinfrith puppet, like if that is his natural form, then he could just say that and be like, this is my baseline. Or is that also a projection? Like, is that what Junior expected to catch in his cage? Is there any inherent me-ness to what either Skinfrith looks like or thinks of himself as?
Seems pretty clearly not.
Yeah, I definitely was wondering about sort of the biology of the Skenfrith species. And Skenfrith isn't even what it calls itself. It is what Red
Yeah.
decides its name is. And so, like, is this an adaptive evolution for the creature to look like something you want to keep as a pet because it doesn't want to care for itself? Is it, or do they live alone in the wild so that other people don't impress upon them their thoughts? Like, what? Putting more thought into this than one probably should.
You're in the right place.
No, that is yeah, you're in good company. It feels a little bit more to me like a cryptid.
Oh, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of like some sort of strange mythological creature that can usually just sort of fly under the radar, right? Like if it goes around a bunch of sheep, well, people think it's a sheep, so it's a sheep.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, does it have the same power that Traveling Matt has?
Oh,
There you go.
Can we be sure that it's not actually traveling?
what a twist.
Oh.
I've never seen them in the same room. Have you?
I mean, that Dave Goles is a talented guy.
True.
And then it turns out that they're both also Tyler Durden.
Oh, God. No, not allowed.
First rule of Fraggle Club.
No. no.
is be nice to your friends.
Yes.
The second rule of Fraggle Club is be nice to your friends. Anyways, because Skinfrith says, I am whatever you believe I am. And so Red is immediately like, oh, pigtails, oh, this, all that. Wembley, what do you think? And Wembley's like, and Wembley, Wembles. And we get this really fascinating conundrum, which I don't think I've ever seen anywhere else. And I've read a lot of folklore. You have a creature who relies on the belief of others and a creature too indecisive to give definite belief enough to be relied upon. And there's this great little line where Skinfrith says, oh, well, would you make up your mind? Indecision is tough on my system. And Wembley says, tell me about it.
It's so good.
Perfect Wembley moment.
Mm-hmm. And go ahead.
Oh, no, I was going to say that Skenfrith is kind of the opposite of who will become a character in Back to the Rock, who basically says that, you are who you say you are and not how others see you. And so, like, just seeing those two polar opposites, I can't say anything more because Adam hasn't seen it, but
Yeah.
I just was like, wow, this is not sure if the new showrunners kind of put that together, but, like, it's there.
I did not think about that at all. Now, that new character is not played by, this puppet. We do see the same puppet
Right.
briefly in a different episode, in a different context.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I did not think about that parallel to the, wow. Ugh,
You're welcome.
so excited to dig into the Back to the Rock with y'all someday.
Sweet. But yeah, Red wants to bring Skinfrith home, and Wembley's kind of cautious. And then they pivot to the Traveling Matt card, and I think this is the first time we've ever seen them not read it and just be like, oh, well, remember this card, and then just say it.
I think we've gotten once or twice before where, like, they've been, like, caught, or, like, someone is like, oh, Gobo was telling me about the postcard. I feel it's not common, certainly, but I think we have maybe gotten it before where it's been relayed and not read directly. But in this one, Matt is in the UK, and he's... What are the official, like, names of these guards who are very, very iconic
That's a great
to
question.
Britain with the big...
Aren't they just the Royal
is that
Palace
just
Guards?
It's the King's Guard, or it's currently the King's Guard.
Okay.
Previously, it was the Queen's Guard.
Makes sense.
I just know the term beef eaters.
Oh, yeah.
Bruh.
They're big, fuzzy hats.
Also, just the last time we saw Traveling Matt in a place where we could confirm what continent he was on, he was in Australia. Now he's in England. How did he get there? That is across an ocean, if not two oceans.
If he can sneak into people's houses, he can easily sneak onto planes, into boats. He's a little stowaway.
Yep.
Yeah.
But, like, I want to see that.
I know.
I want to see him be a little sneaky boy.
Yeah.
I want to know what he would make of crawling onto an airplane rolly bit, getting put in the basement of an airplane, and then showing up and it's like, oh, well, it's nighttime now, but it wasn't. How? What?
You're right. Now I do need to see Traveling Matt stowing away on an airplane. Although the last time he tried to get into a bus, he thought it was a creature that was eating everybody.
So imagine what it would be like if he was on a plane that was suddenly in the air.
Oh boy.
He'd freak out.
Exactly. I feel like there's meat on these bones that they're not doing.
He is the gremlin in that Twilight Zone
Oh my
episode.
god.
Oh
He's on
my
the
God.
wing of the plane. People are freaking
Fans,
out.
if you could make that meme, I will be so happy.
Oh my gosh, that'd be amazing. Yeah, I mean, this segment just seems to tie in with the rest of the episode because he mentions that these men have their pets tied to their heads because their hats are big and fuzzy.
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of is it.
That kind of is it.
Yeah, this one's a little bit of a wash. Besides, yeah, just being like, ah, he found himself in Britain. Questions, but okay. But then, yeah, we go back and Red, like, after the postcard has been relayed, doesn't Skinfrith is like, oh, I found that so interesting. And then Red is like, no, I think it's boring. And he's like, oh, you're right, it's boring. Because we continue seeing him adapt whatever Red tells him to do.
And once again, we get Junior needs a union.
Junior needs a union.
Mark your bingo cards.
Because all the work gets pawned off on him.
They're like, oh, the basement door's nailed shut, and I don't remember exactly who says it, but they're like, yeah, well, it's full of water. And Pa goes, yeah, that's why I nailed the door shut. And just Pa Gorg is every boomer DIY homeowner ever.
Exactly.
It doesn't seem like Pa has actually done any functional work, so I'm not quite
No.
sure what time he's trying to preserve. Like, it's one thing to be like, I've worked an 80-hour week and now I would like a day off, but
I mean, it's like the Southern aristocracy when people were trying to like get rid of slavery. They were like, but I spend all of my day doing leisure. You wish me to sully my palms? They are made of pudding.
Yeah.
I don't know why I gave them an English accent, but I felt like I needed to mock them, and I did because they're all wusses.
Sure.
well, it was only about 100
Where
years.
do you think they got aristocracy from?
Ah, true that. Friggin' French.
I was going to say the British, because that's who colonized us in the first place.
True, but the modern concept of capitalism comes from the ripples after the French Revolution when they were trying to find a way to justify the nobles keeping all of their money. And so they invented the capitalist meritocracy to be like, well, they have all the money because they earned it, and everybody just gets the money that they earn, which is just the right of kings in a newsy boy hat.
Excellent history lesson.
Innuendo Studios has a really good video about that. You should check it out.
Oh, thank you.
They need to be worried about their foundations if they have water in the basement and have had for who knows how many years.
Yeah. Yeah, we know this castle is falling apart.
Yeah, and it's like not just like some puddles of water. It's like the basement is basically a pool. It is enough that later we see Wembley and Red rowing around in a tiny boat, which I have questions about where that boat came from. So it's a lot. But it's important because, you know, in building Skinfrith so that he can basically be Red's doppelganger, she's like, oh, you like to swim. We should go swim in Fraggle Rock. But the second that the water is introduced in the basement, Skinfrith is like, oh boy, I love to swim, so let's go swim in this water. Because they didn't instill the fear of the Gorgs in him yet. And so he kind of just, like, takes off, and they have to go follow him to try to make sure he doesn't get seen by the Gorgs, and then things really kind of pop off from there.
And Wembley says, that's where the Gorgs live. And at the end of that sentence, you kind of hear the Rizzo come out of Steve Whitmire's voice.
Oh, yeah. When they're trying to, like, get the door open to the basement, Pa says that the basement has enough water to sink a Polunian battleship.
I also
Beth,
wrote that down. Who were
Beth,
the Polunians?
What does that mean?
I wish I had an answer for you. There's nothing in Muppet Wiki. There's nothing in the tome. It's just a throwaway line of a huge chunk of missing lore.
This lore that we'll never actually know.
Yep.
Right to John Tartaglia. Dear John Tartaglia, please elaborate on this one sentence from one episode from 30 years ago? 40 years ago?
40.
Oh,
yeah,
that's a
40.
way better way to do it. I was just going to spray paint who were the Polunians on his house when he got home from vacation.
No, he's such a nice man. Don't do that.
Yeah, I was going to do a nice font.
Okay. And just write thanks.
I was going to go with
underneath.
Helvetica. There's also, I just want to give him props. There's a phenomenal pratfall as they're trying to open the door. Both Junior and Pa, they do it almost in unison. It's phenomenal.
Yeah.
I also wrote that down because especially later when we see Junior basically completely upside down.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, so I was reading the book Rainbow Connections for a book review, and they interviewed both Gord Robertson and Rob Mills, two of the performers in the suits. And they said that, like, in the first season, they couldn't see anything. Yeah. And so it was so hard to be in those suits. But then, like, they figured it out. And they have this mime training. So I figure, like, this is them being like, okay, we can finally do all the things we want to do in these suits because we have the freedom of movement. We can actually see the set. And so, like, seeing this, I'm like, yes, this is exactly what they were talking about. They could just, like, fall down, turn over, and bump into each other and make it funny because it's on purpose.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to be clear that, like, whenever we're, given the Gorg characters a hard time, it's like they're absolutely serving the purpose that they are here to serve. They are being the cartoonish villains that they are meant to be.
And they're doing a damn good job.
Yeah, I think it's worth noting that Ma in particular in this episode is, like, she's kind of the star Gorg of the episode, and wow, the cognitive dissonance that this lady can hold. So she's the first one to basically suggest that, oh, whatever thing is now in the basement, it must be a monster. And then she starts elaborating on all of these traits that the monster has. It has big googly eyes, it has fangs, it has 2 heads. And they're like, well, how do you know? And she says, of course I'm sure. I'm a mother, aren't I? Mothers know these things. And I was like, wait a minute, that makes no sense. But then I thought, wait, this is exactly what old wives' tales are for. It's like, you know, women and mothers throughout the ages passing on, like, hey, there's this scary thing out there. Here's what it looks like. Just be aware in case it ever shows up in your neighborhood. That sounds exactly like the kind of thing that would have been ingrained in Ma.
It's also the justification that autism warrior moms use to mistreat their children, so I have negative patience for such a justification and rationalization.
1,000%.
Yeah, so I wrote down, so Ma is turning a harmless individual into a monster by spreading lies about it until everyone else thinks that it's a monster too? Do we have meaning for this in 2025? Can we see any parallels?
Crazy.
Not sure that that's the lesson they intended. Perhaps they intended what you are talking about, Beth, but
I mean, I think it's all of the above. Like, yes, there are legitimate reasons for people to pass down, like, scary stories of things that might be out there and you need to, you know, be cautious of. And also, it's the exact same methods that can be used to hurt the people closest to us.
Indeed.
Normally, when I rewatch an episode of Fraggle Rock for research for this podcast, I watch it like several times, or I'll watch it once, but very, very closely and like pause every other line to like write something important down. This one, I tried to go through as quickly as possible because it is hard for me to watch.
Yeah.
That we pretty much right away learn. Skinfrist says, oh no, don't tell me I'm a monster. I can't stand googly eyes and fangs. I hate being a monster.
Yeah.
Holy cow. This poor guy.
Yeah, this episode was hard to watch. I mean, it's a heavy episode, I think, no matter when, but like right now with the climate of the world, you know, we are currently dealing with a government and administration that are constantly making villains and monsters out of ordinary people, trans people, immigrants, queer people, you know, anybody who is quote unquote different and like is dangerous, a monster, when really they're just like trying to live their lives. And because they build this up, everyone then believes them as like, oh, you're right, they must be monsters. And it's like this almost like game of telephone of just like, oh, well, this person said on the news, or this person said, so yes, trans people are the villains and we should be afraid of them. And it's like, no, like they're just trying to live their lives and you're placing these perspectives on them. So that was my, like, I have like in my notes where I was like, oh no, this is what this episode for me is like reading as, and it's brutal. We're living in brutal times right now. War-torn Portland. Yeah, and the country.
Stage 4 of the 10 stages of genocide is dehumanization.
That's stage 4.
Oh, we're way past it. I just wanted to name that. Oh, we're at like stage 7 or 8. But
Chill. Great.
I just want, if you haven't read the 10 stages of genocide, highly recommend it. It is incredibly illuminating and was put together by some of the most badass historian scholars I've ever seen. But the stage 4 is dehumanization, and it is that stage because it is really hard to get a human being to hurt another human being in a vacuum, because we're wired to care about each other. And so if you can cognitively convince somebody that this other group of human beings aren't actually humans and are in fact monsters, it's much easier to justify doing harm.
Exactly.
the best way to combat this is with other stories. Stories about people in this group being human. Not even necessarily like, oh, this person is a saint, because like every group of people is going to be a group of people, and you're going to have your kind people and your jerks, but like being human, right? They've got a favorite color, and they love their pet, and they've got foods that they, will absolutely pay too much for, and an alcohol they'll never drink again since they drank too much of it in college. Like, they're people.
Yeah. We don't get enough stories from the perspective of the monster who is forced to turn into whatever you believe they are.
Well, and before we watched this episode, Beth, you reached out to me and Adam saying, hey, this episode has big Nimona vibes. And I was like, oh, what is that? I don't remember this episode. What does that mean? And then I was watching and I was like, oh, yeah, 100%. Great movie, great graphic novel, would highly recommend. Because, yeah, that was also my takeaway in watching Nimona, where I was like, oh, well, the creator of this character is trans. And so it's so clearly what the message of this movie is. Yeah. Would recommend that film as well as this episode.
Yeah, definitely. God, there's so much more to dive into.
I know.
So basically, we skip ahead. Pa is trying to convince Junior to go down in there as live bait, which that's definitely an unsafe work environment.
Very on brand for Pa.
Pa, very family first approach here.
Really living his values. Using his son for the old tie up a goat to a stake bit.
Yeah, he tells him to look appetizing.
Yes.
Good God. He tries to send Junior to the monster, and he says, well, I can't go down there. The water's all murky, and murk is bad for my circulation. It's a real Bone Spurs moments over here.
And then, so I think we'd heard Ma mention this word before, and found it again. Poop naughties. I finally figured out how it was spelled, because in my head I was hearing naughty, N-A-U-G-H-T-Y. Apparently it is N-O-D-D-Y. Poop naughty. And I was like, okay, what is that? Tried to look it up. The OED was like, you have to pay us to find out.
Library. Use your library.
Yes, 1,000%. Use your library. But the next quote was basically someone else, or the next link was someone else breaking it down of like, okay, here's what the OED says, and then here's the etymological journey that this went on. Basically, this word just means like foolish or simpleton.
That's interesting to hear you say all of that, because the word naughty to me is N-O-D-D-Y, is part of Nitty Naughty, which is a yarn tool to take yarn that has been spun and then making it into an actual, usable skein.
Oh.
If you had a little one of those that like to play tricks, would that be an itty bitty naughty nitty naughty?
Perfect. Exactly. Yes.
Yes, Adam, it is.
Cool. Glad we're on the same page. Just wanted to get that sorted out. So they try to send Junior in, and Ma winds up going down, and then they accidentally close the door behind her. And so we wind up with this big moment of tension of Ma trapped in the basement, Red and Wembley in the basement, and Skinfrith as this big two-headed, googly-eyed, fanged monster. And I wanna pop back real quick and note a pattern that we haven't gotten a chance to talk about, but Red keeps trying to bring Wembley along, and she's like, we gotta go save Skinfrith. And Wembley's like, what about the monster? And Red's like, no, that is Skinfrith. And Wembley just like can't quite get it. And they wind up in this scenario, which at first I was like, Red, why are you bringing Wembley? Your belief is strong. He's a liability at this point. Just go. But she keeps dragging Wembley along, and then when they get to the point where they're actually trying to use their belief to change Skinfrith, Red faints.
Yeah, as soon as they actually see him, the dynamic flips.
Yeah.
Because Wembley's like, oh, it's just Skinfrith, and Red is like, monster! And I was trying to figure out, like, okay, why do they have such different reactions when they see him? And my best guess is because Red is used to being brave in her imagination, but has some trouble with some real life scary situations.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas in Wembley's head, like, a monster is something that, you know, you can be like theoretically scared of because it's unknown. But then once it's known, once Wembley sees it, he's the kind of person who is able to just be like, oh, that's just Skinfrith.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and also, like, the thing that does it is Wembley talks to Skinfrith and then listen. There's this great little line about, like, oh, yeah, I can see how having fangs would be really uncomfortable.
Yeah.
He starts from a place of listening and understanding.
Well, and it's all, I mean, it shows how much human beings are rationalizing versus actually rational.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Mm.
as much as she says all these things, when you're in the moment and you're actually facing the monster or the spider or whatever, you can say, like, you know, I know that spiders are chill and snakes are chill, but when your adrenaline starts going,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
can't control that in the moment. And so it's just a matter of, like, do you then have the capability to pump the brakes and, you know, bring your rational mind back to it or not? Like, and I think Red just gets stuck in that paralyzing fear. Whereas, like you said, exactly that, Wembley is just like, oh, now that I see what it is, now his brain can start working in the correct direction as opposed to in the monster direction.
Yeah. And so Red is easier to convince. He says he's only a monster because the Gorg and you believe that he is. And eventually Red is like, okay, I'll try. And then he's like, okay, now we have to convince the Gorg. Like, that's the hard part. And he starts very earnestly, and it works. Like, really, Madame Gorg, if you take a closer look, you'll see Skinfrith is not a monster. Like, don't you like his pigtails? And then there's this great comedy beat, you know, they look at each other, and then a scream, ah, monster with pigtails. And then Wembley, God bless this little green guy, look what you've done. It's all your fault he's a monster, you monster.
Hmm.
And then, of course, who are you calling a monster? You, but I'm not a monster. That is a monster. Like, God, Ma is exactly... She's, again, serving her purpose and making me so mad.
Yeah. Well, and then I think it's here where Wembley says it's only a monster because you believe he is, you know,
Mm-hmm.
which just, like, puts a nice bow on the entire episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're saying all the things that, you know, we need to get the lesson and bringing it all back to, I think one of the first things that Red says, like, you like to look for, Beth, you know, how early can you spot the lesson
Right.
of the episode? And so it was right up front.
Yeah. Yeah, so one by one, they start to, like, oh, like, you know what? He doesn't actually have fangs. Like, take another look. And then one by one, these traits start going away. The fangs, the two heads. And gradually Ma can be like, oh, like, why did I ever, like, how could I have been so sure he had two heads? Oh, I've been under a lot of stress.
And that is exactly how some people will rationalize their not great opinions of
Mm-hmm.
and actions towards other people. So
I love that we get this great aside from Skinfrith, like, you've been under a lot of stress. Tell me about it. Like, yeah, I imagine it must be very, very stressful to be you right now, buddy.
It is so interesting, too, because the thing that they're saying is, like, take another look. And part of what happens with monsters is that our imaginations are filling in the gaps with the worst possible realities.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same thing that happens with spiders, right? Our brains go, this thing is going to kill me. This thing is going to do all manner of bad scuttles where it shouldn't be scuttling. And actually what's going to happen is it's going to be kind of unhappy when it goes in a cup, and then I'm going to put it outside.
Yeah.
mm-hmm.
And, like, worst case scenario, where I'm at least, I can't speak to y'all Australian viewers, but worst case scenario where I'm at, I'm going to get, like, a weird bug bite the size of a quarter, and it's going to suck for a week.
Right.
But so they make it out of the basement, and Ma Gorg is like, oh, he's actually really cute. He's really soft and kind of fuzzy and cute. And Junior's like, oh, my pet, I want to keep him. And Red and Wembley are really worried, and they're like, oh, is he going to be okay? And Wembley's like, oh, well, if we believe he's going to be okay, then he's going to be okay.
That's where it kind of breaks down.
Yeah, that doesn't quite...
I wish that was how it worked. It's not how it works.
Yeah.
It's 100% not how it works, y'all.
Check on your friends and family, people.
Yeah.
Check on your friends. Especially that strong friend. You kind of got to just show up at their house with food.
Mm-hmm.
Don't say, can I come over? Say, I'm coming over. I have food.
Julia, did you have a question about the boat that they were in the basement?
Oh, yeah. I mean, like, there's a moment where they're rolling around in a tiny boat, and I just had the question of, like, where did they get this tiny boat in the Gord's basement?
It's a matchbox.
Is it?
And they have little matches that they're using to row.
Oh, okay. I didn't even realize. I thought it was
I noticed
a boat.
That's amazing.
I noticed that the oars were matches. I didn't notice that the boat was a matchbox. That's very cute.
Okay, that's great. Okay. No seems the world building.
Also, I forgot to mention, there's a bit where they're before they go to the basement, and you can see there's just like this big stringed instrument behind them in the Gorg's house. And I love that.
Yeah.
Is that too?
There's a big old map on the wall, and I was like, I want to get a close look at that map. We were talking about the last episode, like what is beyond the Gorg's garden? Something.
Well, where do you think all of this junk came from that they have to keep cleaning out? You know, this episode, the Doomsday Soup episode from like they're just doing lots of cleaning. Where did it all come from?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we end with Doc and Sprocket. Doc is like, okay, I'm now going to test to make sure that my surefire cure is successful, and holds up some pictures of bugs. And Sprocket's like, nah, whatever. And Doc brings a fake spider out of his pocket, and Sprocket like kisses it and sets it down gently and pats it. But then once Doc is called away, and then Sprocket sees the spider again, like just out of the corner of his eye, his instinct is to smack it again.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So he's not entirely cured.
Yeah. Well, we also get a look into Doc's fears because he gets a call from Miss Ardath, which in the previous episode it was questioned that we recorded, like it was brought up whether or not he calls her Betty on the phone, and y'all were saying like, I think it's this episode. In my mind I was like, I don't think it is, and then I watched this episode last night. It was this one where he picks it up and says Betty, and then Sprocket gives him the look and he's like, Miss Ardath, and it's like, ooh, first name basis. But she's calling because there's a bat in her attic and Doc is afraid of bats. But you know, he's worked with Sprocket this whole episode. He's like, you're right, I just gotta face my fears, it'll be okay. But also I personally would be afraid to capture a bat because they fly in an enclosed space.
And there's the risk of rabies.
And they carry rabies.
Oh, didn't even think about that. Just the idea of something.
Yeah, bats are the scary ones. You will get bit and you will already be dead.
Sure.
And not
I mean, the
know
difference
it.
between bats and spiders for me is I like looking at videos of bats on Instagram of them like being wrapped up and eating bananas.
Right.
Very cute. Don't want to be in an enclosed space with them. Love seeing them at night flying in the sky. Don't want them in my house.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any other thoughts before we start wrapping up?
I did want to quote the weaponized feminism of Pa Gorg before he sends Ma down to the basement, because she's like appealing to those chivalry, like, won't you please be here, my heroes? And Pa says, have you ever known me to stand in your way? And so like it's like you said, that just makes them into the villains, the cartoonish villains they are supposed to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, in Pa's mind, he will use any excuse, like, oh, that's Junior's job, or nope, I'm not going to stand in your way, dear. Anything to keep me from doing the thing.
God forbid he actually do work.
Well, he's a king. That's not what kings do.
Beth, you want to tell us about the international versions?
I think we're going to start taking that question out of the end of the podcast, because I haven't seen any notes on an international version in a while.
Da, 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 da.
If there are any notes on the international versions, I will be happy to give them.
Fantastic. In that case, shall we talk about how to make the world a little fragglier?
I'll start. I'd say don't believe what other people tell you about another group of people. Instead, get to know them, and you'll find that we're peoples is peoples.
Peoples is peoples.
Peoples is peoples.
Our library, I'll tell this small story while y'all think, offers a human library event where you can go and you can check out people and just have a conversation with them. And so they'll have like formerly incarcerated people, they'll have trans folks and immigrants and all sorts of people. So you can just, and you prep them ahead of time and so people can ask and you make sure that they're okay with the fact that people will ask sometimes intrusive questions, but that you can, just check them out, talk to them, and get information that you wouldn't get from, a third-hand source. Like even books written by people aren't always as nice as being able to talk to someone.
Yeah. It's a really good way of transferring information.
I like that a lot.
I will say that I think it's natural, especially like, I don't know, like when you're introduced to something new or something different, I think it's okay initially to feel a bit frightened, a bit like concerned, but also, I don't know, like look to your friends if they're telling you like, no, like I'm here with you, it's gonna be okay. Take some deep breaths, and then chances are situation actually isn't that concerning, and there's actually nothing to be afraid of. I guess it depends on the situation you're in, but I think feelings are valid, but after the initial gut punch of maybe some fear or concern, maybe actually take a moment to assess, and it's actually probably not that bad.
The most powerful beliefs are the ones that are rooted in listening.
If you're a shapeshifter who is used to having to conform to whatever people say you are in order to survive, maybe don't go home with the first person to show you affection.
That's just, you know what? That applies to non-shapeshifters.
Yeah, good point.
Maybe don't go home with the first person to show you affection.
Okay, I'll extend that and say, yeah, if you're a shapeshifter who's used to having to turn into what other people say you are, take some dang time for yourself and be whatever the heck you want to be without... Find the people who ask you, what do you want to look like? What do you want your name to be? What role do you want to serve in the world?
Yeah.
Y'all want to plug your plug? Oh, first off, thank you so much for joining us again.
Thank you for coming back.
It's fantastic to have you.
Of course.
Do you have any work that you want to plug?
Well, I am one of the moderators of the Tough Pigs Discord, so
Thank you so much.
Thank you for the work you do.
And talk about old Fraggles, talk about new Fraggles, talk about the Fraggles you made up in your head. It is all fair game. There's lots of other Fraggly fans, as well as really any other fans, because we've got channels for
All
everything.
things Henson.
Exactly. Yeah. So come on in and talk. So that's like the easiest place to find me. So we'll just leave it at there.
Excellent. You can find me on social media at Beth Anna Cook and occasionally writing stuff for Tough Pigs.
You can find me at Geek Girl Grown Up, also occasionally writing for Tough Pigs, and JuliaGaskell.com for some poetry.
You can find me in a little matchbox trying to float, not succeeding because I am much bigger than a matchbox. If you have a dry pair of pants that I could borrow, I will return them laundered.
All right, that is it for this one. Reminder to check out toughpigs.com. Give us a good review on your podcatcher of choice, and we will see you next time.
Don't forget to dance your cares away.
Down at Fraggle Talk.
Wow.
Fraggle Talk Classic is brought to you by toughpigs.com. Fraggle Talk art by Dave Hulteen Jr. The Fraggle Rock mark and logo, characters, and elements are trademarks of the Jim Henson Company. All rights reserved. Fraggle Rock theme song, written by Philip Balsam and Dennis Lee, is used with permission. Special thanks to the Jim Henson Company and the entire Fraggle Rock family. For more from Tough Pigs, follow us on Instagram, Blue Sky, and Facebook, and make sure to check out our Discord server, TeePublic merch store, and Patreon. Fraggle Talk Classic is produced and edited by me, Beth Cook. Thank you to Joe Hennis, the Tough Pigs Muppet Fan Podcast executive producer. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time, down at Fraggle Talk. I will, hang on. Let me, how do I succinctly talk about this word and being like, it's just a silly word. We don't need to dive into it for once.
I just feel like you could have ended that sentence and said, how do I succinctly talk? Because, same.
Yeah, words are hard, man.
It's so hard. You gotta have all the right words, and you gotta say them right, and you gotta put them in the right order. It's a load of hooey.
It's a load of hooey.